Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand, the morning after the night before, and we seem to be in this position so many times. It's like a regretful night out, which I'm sure we've all woken up the next morning and gone, what have I done? And the reality is it's the same with Manchester United yet again. So much to discuss this morning. Obviously, Ronaldo's exit looms big. Some people would be quite happy with that, some people would not. I would say, well, I've got two big announcements for you actually, two big announcements, but also I would say, you know, at this point, in next week on Sunday, we could be a point behind Arsenal and they would have 3 games in hand and we've got to go to the Emirates. Top 4 is basically gone unless Arsenal collapse. Whose fault is that? Because I'm hearing people this morning saying we should have kept Ollie and never bought Ronaldo. There's all sorts to talk about. But first of all, before we get into what's going to be a big show, and I've got an analogy that I think you will like coming up very, very quickly, but the morning show is sponsored by Surfshark. Today's show is sponsored by Surfshark, the lovely people at Surfshark. And if you're not aware, Surfshark have been supporting the channel for quite a while. It's a virtual private network, a VPN. One of the best things I like about Surfshark is their data protection services, making sure my private messages, photos, videos and other sensitive material is protected. But my personal favourite thing about Surfshark, and the thing I think you will like the most, is that you can change your location on Netflix or other location-specific streaming services so you can watch them from anywhere in the world. So if you are in America and you log on, but you want to log in on the UK, you can use your virtual private network to use that if you're on holiday, etc. You know, so it works really well in that case. You can use Surfshark across as many devices as you like, even if they're used at the same time. It's also available on multiple platforms like Android, iOS, Linux, Amazon Fire, etc. And Surfshark has even more features to offer as well, one of them being an alert. This feature will notify you when personal information has been leaked online. Now, the best bit of this is that if you've not tried a virtual private network before, you want to try one, download the link in the description and give it a go. Or if you're on one and you want to move to a different deal, Surfshark are super nice and they're giving you, the United Stand viewer, 83% off. That's right, 83% off and 3 months free when you use the code United Stand through the link in the description. So that's right, 83% off. The first 3 months are free. Using the link in the description, United Stand is the code. Thanks again to Surfshark and check it out through the link in the description. Right, let's get on with the show. Okay, right. Look, I want to talk about Ronaldo, and I think his exit does loom over Manchester United. But I also want to, first of all, not apologise because, well, you know, maybe apologise a little bit. I think, you know, emotions are running high after a football match. And yesterday, look, Super Chats are a part of the channel. It's a way that people can, you know, get their opinions read. But you do get trolls doing it. I think there's some people in the viewers who think, oh, if someone's read a Super Chat and you just completely ignored it. We're doing a live match reaction last night. There's loads of things to talk about, and people are talking about David De Gea. This is not a free hit to just start your agendas on something that we're not talking about. So when I say I'm not talking about De Gea, I don't care whether they've done a £5 Super Chat or not. We'd spoken about De Gea in the player ratings. He got a clean sheet and did nothing wrong, and people are talking about swapping him for Henderson. It's not the fact that you want to talk about De Gea that irritates me. It's the fact that you're just moving the conversation to your own little bloody agenda that we don't need to be talking about in a match reaction. Right, De Gea. What do you want me to talk about De Gea? Some people don't want him in goal. Some people think he's the best player we've got this season. End of conversation. What do you want to do? There's two very extremes, and there's a minority that want Henderson in goal. Fine. You've had your say. What do you want me to do about it? I don't think it's a big problem. I think the bigger problem is, why are Manchester United going to miss out on top 4 when we've got a team that finished second last year and we've bought Varane, Sancho, Ronaldo? Why is that going to happen? Who is responsible for that? I've said Arteta should get a statue if he gets top 4. I said that at the start of the season. It looks like he's going to get it quite comfortably. Who is to blame for that? Where are you putting the blame on this? Are you now going to put it on our player of the year? Are you going to put it on Ronaldo? You're going to put it on Bruno? You're going to put it on Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford? I mean, for me, there's a bigger conversation to be had here. This club is in an absolute disgraceful situation. The only thing we can compete for is winning team pictures after training. We're a bloody joke. Where is the blame? Do you think Varane will leave as well, says Daniel? I don't think he will leave, Daniel. And Mark, Ralph came in and exposed the players board is just one of the problems, says Vishal. You know what I think Manchester United's problem is, just before we talk about Ronaldo, because I think he will go. And, you know, having had a little bit of time, and I'm sure you've had a bit of time, the two things I would say about Ronaldo is I watched the game again late last night. It did put me to sleep, to be honest. I had to watch the second half this morning. But the reality is about Ronaldo is his game, he didn't actually play as bad as people are making out. Like, you know, typical Twitter and social media, Ronaldo has just put in the worst performance United fans have ever seen. He didn't. He should have scored the one where he hit the post. His link-up play was quite good. He wasn't as bad as people think out, and he wasn't as bad as Bruno, who should have fucking scored too. But ultimately, he's a striker, and in a game like that, it's his job to deliver. There was enough opportunities for him to score. So, I think Ronaldo was below par yesterday, but I also think there's a bit of an overreaction. But there's always an overreaction with Ronaldo. I also think that you've got to look at the situation and say, have we got everything we wanted to get out of Ronaldo? And the answer is a big no. So there is an issue there. I think the third thing I would say as well about Ronaldo is, do you think he's actually happy at the club? I don't know whether he's already checked out. He's never going to say that. He's the biggest brand footballer in the world. He's never going to say he's looking to leave Manchester United, but body language is everything, and he just doesn't look happy, and there's a multitude of reasons why that would be. But what I would say is, in relation to the problem with Manchester United, what is the problem? I'm seeing people this morning saying we should have stuck with Ollie. McKenna's doing a great job at Ipswich. Does anybody know what league Ipswich play in, by the way? They play in League One. They're not a Championship side. They're not a lower Premier League side. He's managing a League One side. And people are saying we shouldn't have got rid of McKenna because he's doing well at Ipswich. Ipswich have broken their all-time not concede a goal record. I mean, I think that in my opinion, I think the big hints are there. He's broken their not concede goal record, and he's managing well in League One. And people are saying we shouldn't have sacked him. Oh, should we go around League One picking up managers from there then? We're Manchester United. Liverpool have got Klopp. Man City have got Pep. We want to get McKenna because he's broken the all-time not concede a goal thing for Ipswich. Was this not the problem at United? We were such a pragmatic defensive side. I'm not surprised McKenna's doing well at Ipswich. He's probably a decent coach, but he was never good enough for Manchester United. And as for bringing Ollie back, we made a mistake getting rid of Ollie. Oh, yeah. The football was bloody fantastic under Ollie. I absolutely loved the short nicknames of putting a Y on the end of every player. I loved the bullshit he fed us every press conference where he couldn't talk about tactics because he didn't know them and just smiled and protected everybody. I loved the fact that we were absolutely shit and got hammered by Watford, Leicester, Liverpool. I loved the fact that the players were having a clear ride. I loved the fact that he consistently didn't change his team and kept picking people no matter how crap they were. Yes, please bring that back to me, because you know what? The fact that over the last few weeks people have been exposed, people are unhappy, we've smashed a load of eggs up, needed to happen. It amazes me that people think going back to Ollie is the way to go and that this is a surprise. The club's a bloody mess. It's an absolute mess and it's run by idiots. And what's happened is people have gone into that club, and you can name those people. You might say it's Ronaldo, you might say it's Ranić, you might say it's other people. People have gone into that club, they've called it out, and suddenly there's a civil war in the club. That's always going to happen. If you want change, you're going to have to battle people for it. And that's what's going on at United. And ultimately, we're just not good enough. That is the headline. We are just not good enough. And when you look at what the problems are at United, which is what I'm interested to know what you think, what are the problems at United? I would say the problems at United are this. I like the Peaky Blinders. It's back tonight on BBC One. The Peaky Blinders, if you don't know what it is, it's a bit of a gangster sort of series which is set in Birmingham from like 150 years ago. They're a gang, a bit like Goodfellas or something like that, whatever you want to call it. Tommy Shelby's the leader. He's got his brothers, he's got his aunt, Polly, and everything like that. The cast is really good. It's absolutely fantastic and it's a really good series. You know what I feel with United? Man United, we used to have Sir Alex Ferguson, Roy Keane, Class of 92, Cantona, this great cast of characters and a brilliant leader, and we used to win everything. And we were a bit of a gangster crew that could go and win trophies. I feel like it's like turning Peaky Blinders on tonight, and instead of seeing the normal cast and crew, instead of it being Cillian Murphy as I don't think his name is Cillian actually, but you know what? The guy who plays Tommy Shelby, instead of it being him, it's Ollie Murs. Instead of his brother being the normal person, it's Ian Beale. And instead of Polly, who unfortunately has passed away in real life and is very sad, but they've replaced her with, Rita from Coronation Street. That's what I feel United have done. They've just recast everybody with a bunch of prats. We are still Manchester United. We are still the Peaky Blinders, but we've recast everybody that was decent with complete and utter clowns. And that's what's happened. And, maybe Ronaldo's come back and, he is good enough to be in that cast, but everybody around him is just not up to it. And he's like, what the hell has happened to this series? It used to be great. It's like the last season of Game of Thrones. We've just ruined it. Absolutely ruined it. And that, to me, is the issue at Manchester United. You know, we can look at individualising players. You know, even Harry Maguire gets a lot of stick. Never should have bought him. Never should have bought him. Never should have picked him. Never should have spent the money on him. Never should have given him the captaincy. We are hamstrung by that decision now. We have to live with that decision for probably 2 years more. He will be captain. He will not be dropped long term, and he can't be sold. He is symbolic of a lot of players. You know, we better hope Rashford starts playing well, because we are going to be stuck with him for the next 3 or 4 years as well. Wan-Bissaka, we're probably going to keep him for a while. Luke Shaw. On a bigger scale, some people think Bruno's a problem. He ain't going anywhere either. We are absolutely saddled with these poor decisions that we've made over the last 2 years, and they're going to stay with us. Who made those decisions? Managers that aren't here anymore, coaches that aren't here anymore, and board members that are still here, and owners that are still here. The club, I've been saying it for a few weeks now, and I don't like being proved right, but I've been saying it for a few weeks now, that I think the next 18 months is going to get worse. And of course, people don't want to accept that, because people go home and away, they spend a lot of money, people get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, people want their football club to do well. They don't want to hear that this is going to get worse over the next 18 months. And maybe I won't be right, but the way I read it, you know, the way I looked at Fellaini and was like, he might score the odd goal here and there, but he ultimately isn't a Man United player. I look at United and go, this is going to get worse. I don't see the future looking good for Manchester United. They need a miracle, and they're not capable of performing a miracle, because they don't want the miracle. They want money. They don't want a miracle. They don't want to do the things to make this football club better. And, you know, I listened to Newcastle's owner saying Botman wanted to come, we just couldn't get the deal done in January. Jesse Lingard was desperate to come, but we couldn't get it done in January. And they're still progressing. They're not a club that's going to suddenly sit there and go, we're billionaires, but you know what, we'll settle for mid-table. They're going to keep coming and coming and coming. And United are going to keep dropping and dropping. So I think we're in a big mess. And what worries me more than anything, and the reason I think we're in a big mess, is because when I look at the next 18 months and I look at the team, I think the most likely players to leave are obviously Cavani, Paul Pogba, Cristiano Ronaldo, and maybe one other. Maybe another big player will just find a way out. But Ronaldo, Pogba and Cavani, whatever you think of them, United are worse without those players. So we're going to replace those players with probably people like Anthony from Ajax, maybe a Declan Rice or something like that. Players that will come in and automatically sit in the dressing room and keep their gob shut for people like the people that are the problem in the dressing room. And the people that are the problem in the dressing room are the players that aren't good enough but have big influence. And we know who those players are. And they're the players that aren't going anywhere. So they're going to still be here next year with their weak mentality, their inability to be consistent, semi-final bottlers, occasional final bottlers, top 4 is our peak. That's what we're going to be stuck with next season. And that's what we're going to be building our team around. And the people that are, you know, divisive but actual winners, Pogba's a winner, Ronaldo's a winner, they're going to be gone. So that's why I look at the next 18 months and say, well, we're taking the proven winners out and we're replacing them with future talent to be nurtured by players that aren't good enough. So it doesn't matter who the manager is. We are in for a very painful 18 months, in my opinion. Nick says, Ronaldo coming back to United was one of the best days of my life. The thought of him playing somewhere else next season hurts. Shame on the Glazer, says Nick. And good morning, Mark. The board is definitely the main problem. However, Ronaldo and Ranić expose how much the players are lazy, not disciplined enough and with low standards, says Ferhat. The problem with United players are content with being okay. Look at Liverpool now. Is Henderson as talented as Bruno? No, but you could clearly see the effort he puts in every game, says Mahmood. And Ronaldo is not a problem. Not creating plan around him is problem and still not justifying his performances and not playing well, says Jay. Ronaldo has lost one game. We could have got top 4 if we had got rid of Ollie in the summer, says Daniel Kirk. Look, I will talk about Ronaldo. I think there's a very big chance he will go in the summer. I've always said that if we don't get top 4, and it's looking very unlikely now, then he will go. Why would he play Thursday night football? So we will basically do what United have done over the last 9 years, which is basically shit all over what we are as a football club. I mean, you bring back a legend of the club, you ruin his status, and you get rid of him after a year. Maybe Ronaldo will stay. Maybe nobody else would take him. Do I think Ronaldo's finished? I actually don't. I don't. I think he's a different type of player. I think he is getting caught offside a lot because he's lost a bit of pace, which you go into at 37. But ultimately, I think if we had more games like yesterday, he would score a lot of goals. I think yesterday he wasn't good enough. You've got to call it out. But as I said after the game yesterday, the criticism of Ronaldo is justified. He's got to score in a game like that. But we haven't had many games like that where Cristiano Ronaldo is in a team that's creating loads and loads of chances. Ultimately, I find it quite similar to the De Gea issue, actually. There are some people in our fan base, they're a small vocal minority who are obsessed with Dean Henderson. I mean, their wall must be unbelievable. God knows what sort of pictures of Dean Henderson they've got up in their bedrooms, but they're obsessed with Dean Henderson. And, you know, I don't get it. I just don't get it. He was given a chance last season. He wasn't very good. He's been given a couple of chances this season. We've gone out of both cups with him in goal. So I just don't think he's particularly good. But I think it's the same with Ronaldo as well, as the problem is with De Gea. People want to make these people the problem when actually they're the solution. If we had the right players around these people, they are proven winners and they are proven world-class players, that they will only be better. I look at where this season went wrong and I can pinpoint it very, very simply. It went wrong in the summer. Now, people will say, well, it went wrong in January, it went wrong in November. It went wrong in the summer. I remember at the start of the season, we were talking about the season ahead. People were getting excited because obviously we got Varane and Sancho and then Ronaldo came in and people got really excited. And I said, right at the end of the transfer window, how would you rank that transfer window? And a lot of people wanted to go with 8 and 9s because we got Ronaldo in. And I said, to me, it's a 7.5 tops. And people were like, you miserable gits, you're so negative, this, that and the other. And I'm like, well, whatever, you can say what you like. We'll see who's proven right, won't we? And the reason I went 7.5, which is not particularly good, you know, on a player rating, 6 is average, so 7 is good. Good to very good, whatever. The reason I marked it low is because we didn't buy a midfielder. And I knew 100% that you can't win anything if you don't have a team. You can't be a bagel. That bagel could be the best thing you've ever tasted, but it's still got a hole in the middle. You can't do it. We went into this season with our midfield hub, and what I mean by that is centre defensive midfielders, being McTominay, Fred and Matic. It was never good enough. Never going to be good enough. And it hasn't been good enough. We lose too many midfield battles, and we still will lose too many midfield battles. And it doesn't matter whether you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, David De Gea, Rafael Varane, Bruno Fernandes, Jadon Sancho. It doesn't matter how many good players you've got around it. The midfield was a huge problem that Ollie and his coaches and the board decided will wait till next summer. You cannot wait in football. You can't wait. You can't just go, we'll sort that problem next year. But you know that's the problem in itself. Why do Man United wait to solve problems? We hit January, we need a midfielder. Rangnick even suggests 2 cheap holding midfielders to get into the club, to give us a chance. And they go, no, we're waiting to the summer. Like we said last summer, we're waiting to the summer. We're waiting for a new manager to come in and then we're going to get them in midfield. Which is a complete lie because they don't even know who the midfielder is. They don't even know who the next manager is going to be. But they're targeting midfielders right now. Right now, United are having chats about who the midfielder should be. They don't even know who the manager's going to be. But in January, they lied and said, we're not buying anybody now because we're waiting for the new manager in the summer and we don't want to buy somebody that the new manager doesn't want. And yet, they are in conversations to sign players in the summer. We don't even know who the next manager's going to be. So they're full of crap, basically. And again, it compounded the issue. We didn't buy a midfielder in January. We didn't buy a midfielder in the summer. And why didn't we do it? Because this club is always about money. Do you think Chelsea would not have bought a midfielder in the summer and gone, we could do with saving a bit of money, we've got dividends to pay, we'll wait a year? They basically wrote the season off. And you know what? Not one part of me feels like this, but I guarantee there are some people who feel like it. They've got what they deserved. They're playing Monopoly in a football scenario and it's bit them on the arse big time because all these sponsors and all these brands will have been expecting a minimum of 4th place and we will be exposed to Champions League crowds and viewers next season. and it's looking like it's not going to happen. It's looking like it's Thursday night Europa League football. And that's on the board, and that's on recruitment, and that's on the owners. And people can protect coaches, and people can protect board members and technical directors and directors of footballs and chief executives. But you know what? If you go into work and you know something's not right, and your boss says you're doing it this way, even though you disagree with it, that's on you. That's on your conscience. Get another fucking job. Don't. If you tolerate it, you're part of the problem. And United board members and recruitment people have been tolerating this shit. I don't know how they work. I mean, they must just enjoy their check. They must enjoy their payroll. Because I don't know how you work for Manchester United and be told what to do by complete and utter incompetent people, and then go home, look at your family or your friends or whatever like that, and think you're making a difference. You're not making a difference. You're an absolute puppet. An absolute puppet. These people are within Man United. They know what we're saying and what you're saying and what pundits are saying is true. They're just taking their bit of silver and putting up with it because it's a cushy little job. They're all part of the problem. You're all on the payroll. You're all part of the problem. Anybody having discussions with Manchester United under the current regime is part of the problem unless they're part of the solution. And that is what is going on at United. And I include that from playing staff all the way through. Because ultimately, the buck stops at the top. Manchester United not getting top four when we finished second last year and we've added Ronaldo, Varane and Sancho is absolutely disgusting. I think this season is our biggest failure in decades. Absolute decades. I can't think of a season in my lifetime that's hit this. Now, people will talk about, well, we finished, I think there was a season under Sir Alex where we were below mid-table, but, I was very young at that point, and I guarantee we hadn't finished second the season before and then added in people like Ronaldo, Sancho. There's just no excuse. There's no excuse at all. But you know what it comes down to? It comes down to that midfield. Because I can say we've got Ronaldo, Cavani, Rashford, Sancho, we let Martial go, we let Donny go, we've got Pogba, we've got Bruno, we've got Maguire, we've got Varane, we've got Bailly, we've got Lindelof, we've got the best goalkeeper in the league, we've got Dalot, we've got Wan-Bissaka, we've got Shaw, we've got Tellez. All that sounds great, but what I can't do to you is list good midfielders. I can list good attackers, wingers, I can list fullbacks, I can talk about the goalkeeper, I can talk about the centre-back options. But what I cannot do, and never have been able to do, is go, we've got Matic, we've got Fred, we've got McTominay, because we're crap in that area. I genuinely think at least 80% of the Premier League have got better midfield than us in relation to the engine room. Was there yesterday and waited for the players after, and Darren Fletcher was the only person to stop fans and photos and sign autographs as Patrick Martin. Yeah, but Darren Fletcher's walking off at the end of the game smiling and having a chat with Roy Hodgson. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying he should be punching Roy Hodgson or putting him in a tombstone, or he's in his 70s, but I think Darren Fletcher's living the dream. I genuinely think he's living the dream. People think I don't like Darren Fletcher. I thought as a player I really liked him, but I don't understand why he's in the club, and Ralph Rangnick has said this. I don't understand why Darren Fletcher's at the club. It makes no sense to me. So I think when he's walking down the touchline after another ultimately, I looked at the end of the game. I saw Ronaldo with his hands on his hips. Bruno looked pissed off. They played badly, but they knew the enormity of that result. We can't be talking pre-Watford going, it's now or never. We can't afford any more slip-ups. We've got to win this game. And then not win it. For me, yesterday, I mean, look, melodramatic people will go, that's it, top four's gone. But I actually think it is gone. It doesn't mean we can't get it, but it's gone. The only way we're going to get this back, we need a collapse from Arsenal. A massive collapse from Arsenal. That's what we need. It's not in our hands. It's massively out of our hands. They're playing Watford next Sunday. We're playing at the Etihad. We're 2 points ahead of them. If they beat Watford and we draw with Man City, which would be a good result, they'd still be above us, and we'd have the same points, they'd have better goal difference, and they've got 3 games in hand. Even if we draw at the Etihad next week and they beat Watford, we're on the same points, and they've got 3 games in hand. And one of them, and we've got to go to the Emirates. I mean, I don't know. What is that situation? If we're level on point, well, if we lose, we're a point behind them. But if we're level on points for them next week, if they beat Watford and they've got 3 games in hand, what? How come? It's gone, isn't it? It's gone unless they mess up. I love Ronaldo, but I hope he leaves United in the summer if we don't get top 4. We've put a black mark against his career already, and it would be an insult to him, his career, and his legacy to make him play Thursday night, says Colin O'Connor. Yeah, I mean, look, for me, Darren Fletcher, just going back to that, I just think that Darren Fletcher probably thinks he's one of the luckiest people in the world. He came to the club a year ago to just, do a bit of training to get his badges, and now he's a technical director. I've never known that. That's a huge job as well. He's not the manager. He actually makes decisions on the manager. I just think he's probably very happy because of that. As fans, we can either hope to beat City and give Liverpool a chance of a title, or lose to City and watch them win a title. It's criminal where we are, says user234. Mate, you know what? I don't want City to do the treble. I don't want Liverpool to do the treble. But the reality is, at some point, fans have got to stop arguing with themselves and look at what's happening at this football club. It's getting worse. It's getting worse by the month. It's a shambles. God knows what Ronaldo thinks. It's an absolute shambles. There are players in that football club who have been a disgrace this season, on the pitch and off the pitch, factually. We've all seen with our own eyes how bad they've been on the pitch. They've been causing massive problems off the pitch, in the dressing room, in the boardroom. Absolute shower of shit. Disgusting behaviour from some of these players. They're just not good enough to wear the shirt. The coaches aren't good enough. The board ain't good enough. The recruitment's not good enough. And the owners are abysmal. What more evidence do you want? What is happening? Because the Super League's coming back. That's going to come back. That's going to be a lot of money for United. Manchester United is about money. That's all they're bothered about. We've got a great fan base, but there is absolutely no clue on what to do about it. The big plan at the moment, from what the Manchester United Supporters Trust has put out there, is that they're in discussions with these people to get some sort of shares. We shouldn't be in discussions with them. They've destroyed the football club. There needs to be discussions away from them about how you get this football club back. That's what needs to happen. And not in a bloody, invade Carrington, that sort of way. There needs to be a grown-up conversation about removing these owners from this football club and getting the club back in the hands of people. For me, it doesn't have to be fans. I'm not obsessed with the fans owning the club. That's the dream. But, Ollie was the dream. An ex-player managing the club was the dream. The dream can be a nightmare. But what we do need is people who love the club owning the club. I've got no problem with the Manchester United being owned like other clubs are owned, as long as they want Manchester United to be successful. The wages are the problem. We overpay average players and promise them stardom. That is why we end up with a team that undermines countless managers, says Connor Burns. And look, there's a lot of people in the chat I'm not going to ignore. They're saying, Ronaldo needs to go. Ronaldo's the problem. Okay, basically I think you're a troll, because nobody ever gives any real depth to that solution. Ronaldo is not Josh King. Ronaldo is arguably the best striker in the Premier League. So you want to remove the best striker in the Premier League because that's going to make us better. And then what happens next season is Isaac comes in, Jonathan David, Calvert-Lewin, whoever, right? They come in, and I guarantee within 2 months you're going, that was a waste of money. They're a load of shit. What a waste of money they were. And what surprises me is that you can't see how idiotic you are being by saying Ronaldo's the problem, he's got to go. It's like you've never watched Manchester United play in the last 9 years. It's like you don't really understand football. But look, it's your opinion. So I'm bringing it into the show. People say, oh, he's being disrespectful, he's calling them an idiot. No, I'm bringing your opinion into the show because it's a fan channel. But I'm saying I don't get it. I don't know what you're on about, really. Are you an Arsenal fan? Are you a Liverpool fan in disguise? I don't get that point, because as a community, as a fan base, we watch United every week. This is not a surprise. I remember us playing like this against Bournemouth under Mourinho with Zlatan. He missed loads of bloody chances and we drew 0-0. It was a bloody farce of a performance. But the vast majority of this season for me, and the last season, has been defensive football and not creating many chances. And Ranić has changed that. we have been more attacking. We have created more chances. We've played with that high line, and it has been better to watch. But ultimately, the football is better, but the players aren't good enough. That is the problem at Manchester United. Now, the players aren't good enough because we recruited badly. The players aren't good enough because the board won't remove some of these players. Removing Ronaldo won't make United any better. In my opinion, it won't make us any better. We're already a club that should be finishing fourth, by the way, so we're massively underachieving. But Ronaldo leaving United is not going to make us any better. In fact, I would argue it makes us worse, because you lose somebody with the right mentality, and you put, you know, when Ronaldo goes, Maguire becomes more powerful again. And other leaders in that dressing room become more powerful again. But they're not good enough. So, you know, that for me is the issue. But I still think we're focusing on the wrong area. People are looking in the dressing room for why United are crap. You know, it's like arguing with the waiter about the food he delivers. Yeah, it's your fault your restaurant's rubbish. It's your fault that dish is rubbish. It's not the waiter you need to talk to. As I say, footballers, in a game of chess, footballers are always the pawns. They're not the kings, the queens, the bishops. That's the owners. That's the board. They make the decisions. They decide which players are within the club. Players can have bad games and they can get called out, but players don't pick the team. Players don't renew their wages. Players don't get signed themselves. These decisions are made by the board. And Mark, would you take any player from Chelsea to improve our team? Says Amir. I mean, I'd take most of Chelsea's players to improve our team. Just want to go rock bottom to fans realise how bad our owners are. I want to lose every game now, says Jay. I mean, look, I can't get on board with that, but the reality is, and I've said this before, and it's true, the only winner out of United getting fourth place really is the Glazers. We will lose if we finish fifth as fans, but we will also lose if we finish in fourth, because if we get fourth place, they'll spend the minimum. If we finish in fifth, we're back in the Europa League. We probably lose Ronaldo. They will spend a bit of money, but they're only trying to get back to being fourth. It makes me sick where we are as a football club. You know, I can say wholeheartedly, we should never be talking about Leeds, about Liverpool, or about. We should never be talking about Liverpool. We should never be talking about Chelsea. We should never be talking about Man City. They are miles and miles ahead of us. And it wouldn't surprise me if United went to Etihad next week and got a result, and people would go, we're fine. We're not. It's a Manchester derby. We've done it before. We've beaten Man City over the last 3 or 4 years. We've not won a title. We've never been near one. In a one-off game, United are capable of doing things, but we are not good enough. We should not be in the same conversation as Liverpool, Man City or Chelsea, because they are run better, they've got way better managers, and they've got way better squads. And to be honest with you, we don't deserve top four, and Arsenal are better than we are. I've watched Arsenal quite a lot this season because I do the watch-alongs on That's Football. I've watched them a lot over the last year. Arsenal fans were going, Arteta out, T-shirts, get rid of him. I could see what he was doing, not because I want Arsenal to do well, but I monitor football. Arteta was Pep's right-hand man. He comes into the club at Arsenal and he plays park the bus, counter-attack football. And I'm like, ooh, what's this all about then? Because he's just spent a few years under Pep Guardiola as his right-hand man. And then he goes to Arsenal, gets his big chance, and he's playing park the bus football. What he was doing is, he didn't think that team was good enough, and he was grinding out results like Ollie did. You know, counter-attacking football. And then what he did, he started to bring the players in he wanted to bring in. And last summer was a very big summer for him. And this season, Arsenal have played a very expansive style of football. He's changed his goalkeeper. He's gone from an international goalkeeper to a different goalkeeper. He's got rid of Aubameyang and said, I'd rather not have him than have him. And Arsenal, they're not world beaters. They're nowhere near the level of Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool. But they're way better than Manchester United. They've got better structure, better players, better system, better unity. And you know, you've got some United fans saying, oh, Arteta's not that good. And I'm like, you're not that good. You don't know what you're talking about. You're blinded. Absolutely blinded. You're still living in this world where Man United have got to be better than Arsenal because I'm a United fan and I don't like Arsenal. And, you know, that sort of beef mentality belongs 3 or 4 years ago. Football fans have progressed. We are the problem. Manchester United are the problem. The Glazers are the problem. The board is the problem. We aren't good enough. We can't look at Arsenal and go, we're better than you because we want to be better than you and you're a bunch of fake Arteta's rubbish and he's got rubbish hair and you always bottle it, you always finish 8th. They're doing better than us. He's doing better than us. They are better than us. And they're going to finish above us unless they bottle it. It's a fact. It doesn't stress me out. I don't like it, but they are better than us. The only people we should be frustrated with are Manchester United. They've somehow taken a club that was nailed on for top 4. And to me, that's not good enough, by the way. Top 4 is not good enough. We should be better than that. They've took us from a club that was nailed on for top 4, that was talking about being in a title race in April. We're out of a race for top 4 in late February. Like, we are out of the race for top 4 at the moment. It's not impossible. But as I said, if Arsenal win next week, they've got 3 games in hand on us and they're above us. And then we've got to go to their place. That's out of a race. We're talking, they're probably going to be 4 or 5 points ahead of us and we've got to go to their place. And we've still got to play Liverpool at Anfield. So, I think it's a bloody mess. And I think it's about time we accepted the fact that there are teams that are better than us. And I personally think, people are talking about the Europa League. How low do you have to finish to not be in the Europa League? Because we're talking about the top 4's gone. That puts us into 5th. What if Spurs finish the season better than us? That's 6th. And are we going to be really disrespectful to West Ham and Wolves and say that they can't finish above us as well? We could end up 7th. Maybe even 8th. I don't think we will. I do think that it would be... I think it's completely embarrassing that we're not 5th, that we're not 4th, but I'd be stunned if we don't get 5th. But look, let's not pretend anything's not possible. It's okay for to go on Harry Kane to not score for a few games, but Ronaldo's old and finished. Help me understand the world, Mark. I don't like it. Well, Nick, it's all about opinion. I don't really care. You can write Ronaldo off all you like. I don't think Ronaldo gives a massive shit about what people do because people don't like him or they do like him. But for me, we're not good enough, and it's not about one player. It's about the way that the club's been run. I find it illogical that people want to just blame it on an individual player. I wouldn't blame it on Harry Maguire. I wouldn't blame it on Rashford. Certainly wouldn't blame it on Bruno or anybody else. Even though, I think collectively they've not been very good. Some worse than others. But I look at United under Sir Alex Ferguson, Premier League title winners. He retires, and I look at the club since, and never been anywhere near a league title. But Van Gaal did win an FA Cup. Mourinho won the Europa League and the Carabao Cup. We're getting worse. This is the longest period of time we've had without a trophy. In God knows how. I think it was 85 to 90. We've beaten that now. So we're getting... people go, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, it's not good enough. We're not even winning them. We're getting worse. And we were getting worse before Ronaldo came here. And before Varane came here, and before Maguire came here, we were getting worse. We are getting worse. It's like some United fans, they go, we never should have bought Ronaldo. It's all on him. And I'm like, we haven't won a trophy for 4 years before he came in. We're getting worse. You're being conned. You're being conned by this board. I was joking last night, but this is Man United's head of admin last night. He spent all day walking up and down behind the goal of the Stretford end with his phone on. He's got a battery pack in it. He's waiting for that moment where Ronaldo scores. He can be there like that. He puts it on the social. Boom! He's got all his drafted tweets ready. Delete, 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 delete. That's Man United. And in some ways, I find it quite funny because you're such a fake club, but you've always got training tomorrow, winning team. Lie down like that. It's like the David Brent poses. It's such a fake club in the way that it manipulates the fans. But some fans do get manipulated. They are literally fans on social media going, De Gea's the problem. Ronaldo's the problem. Maguire's the problem. Rashford's the problem. They might not be good enough to play for United. I would give you that. I don't agree with all that, but with some of them, maybe they're not. But they're not the problem. Look at the graph. United were winning titles. United are winning the FA Cup. They're winning the Carabao Cup. They're winning the Europa League. We're dropping on the graph. We're dropping on the graph, and I personally think we're at our lowest point we've been for decades, and I think we're going to go further down. And that's a scary thought. Think about it. 2014 Mata, 2015 Di Maria, 2016 Zlatan, 2017 Pogba, 2018 Lukaku, 2019 Wan-Bissaka and Maguire, 2020 Cavani, 2021 Ronaldo. Nearly everyone on this list has failed at the club but sold loads of shirts, says Barry. Yeah. Look, I think we face what United will do, and I've seen it this morning. What United are going to do is they're going to start dribbling out signings. I saw this morning we've been linked to Cody Gakpo, who's the striker at PSV, Anthony at Ajax, Polina at Sporting Lisbon. Rice will come through again. I'm sure Harry Kane will start. I mean, these players aren't good enough. They're not good enough for what we need. It's another rebuild, let's not pretend. We'll get a new manager in. Some players will go. We'll end up in a worse position at the start of the season than how we ended. Because ultimately, if Pogba and Ronaldo and Cavani go, you're going to have a bloody good season summer to just get us back to where we were. And they'll repackage it. They'll repackage Manchester United. And I mean, look, I'm not saying Anthony's not a good player. I'm not saying that Palina's not a good player. But what I'm saying is, they're not going to make us win the league, are they? And I think that's what United fans need to stop with this. We're going to win the league next year. We're not going to win the league next year. We're not going to win the league the year after that. And we're probably not going to win the league for another 8 years, at least. I don't think we'll win the league with the Glazers. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think we're winning anything major with the Glazers in charge. The minute the Glazers go and we bring in a proper owner who wants us to win, that's when our future really starts. But I don't think that's going to happen because the Super League is going to happen. And United are going to make a shitload of money as soon as that Super League starts. So the Glazers aren't going anywhere. They're going to hang about for as long as possible to increase their pockets and the value of that club. And until they go, I don't see anything happening at that football club. I really don't. But we will continue to be manipulated. New signings, new shirts, new sponsors, new seasons, new managers. Rotate, rotate, rotate. We spoke about this about a year ago. There is a cycle at Manchester United. And I can't believe, again, that people don't see it. The cycle at United is this. New manager comes in, loads of hype. We make a few signings. We do quite well. It then starts to go wrong. Manager gets sacked. We finish outside of the Champions League. We start again. New manager comes in. We spend a bit of money. We do quite well. Starts to go wrong. Finish outside the top 4. Manager gets sacked. It's happening. It happens. This is the cycle. This is the cycle. This is what happens. Anyway, look, I could go on and on. We've got the 8 o'clock show tonight. We've got Ricky on. I'm looking forward to seeing what Ricky's got to say. Obviously, always interested in that. I think we've got Adam and Beth on as well. And look, I think Ronaldo's exit does loom heavy on Manchester United, and I think it's logical. And I think some people would think that that's a good thing. I must say as well, and I'll keep saying it, I think on a completely squad-based level, people are saying to me, quite rightly, Ronaldo's getting old. You can see that. He's getting caught offside a lot. I think he's trying to what Ronaldo's doing is he knows where he needs to be. He's not quite got the pace he used to have at 37, that's fine. So he's moving a little bit too quick. He's getting caught offside. On top of that, the crossing is shit. Like, nobody's got the courage to whip a quick cross in. Like, they all take... I watched Luke Shaw yesterday. He looks up and he goes... It's like he's playing golf. He's like... And then he puts the cross in. It's like, of course people are going to get caught offside. Whip the cross in. The striker wants the ball in quick. But look, there's no doubting Ronaldo's getting a little bit older, but he's 37. People are saying he's fat, he's getting too old, and then they're not letting the excuse be he's had to start 3 games in 6 days. Like, there's nobody else to play up front. Cavani's let us down, but that's on the board. You know, I don't blame Cavani. People get really angry with Cavani, he can't be bothered to play. I've heard certain journalists say, oh, well, Cavani looks out the window and if it's a bit cold, he doesn't fancy it. Hold on a minute. There's something called transfer market injury history. Look at his injury history before he came to the club. We never should have bought him. We can't moan that he's not played in over 50% of our games. When you look at his bloody injury record, it was absolutely obvious. So I'm sort of getting to the point now where the season's a complete write-off and our only hope is the Champions League. That's the only excitement left. The league is just a bloody shambles. And I'm looking at every player now that is a shambles and needs to be sold. And I'm looking at it and going, well, I'm sorry, Harry Maguire didn't say he was £80 million. and he didn't ask for the captaincy. Wan-Bissaka didn't ask to be bought for 50 million. Apparently we scouted over 200 right backs to spend 50 million pounds on Wan-Bissaka. You know, Marcus Rashford, there's people training him and coaching him every day. They didn't see that, you know, he might be a bit limited in relation to his final ball. Every decision, you know, Pogba, that contract should not have run down the way it did. Every decision goes back to somebody within that football club. And I'm getting to the point now with, look, I know the players aren't good enough. I know some of their attitudes have been a disgrace. But ultimately, who put them into that club in the position that they are in? You know, they didn't all turn up at Carrington and went, we're going to sabotage Manchester United. They probably all came with the right intentions, but they weren't good enough. They were scouted, they were bought, they were negotiated for, and they were overpaid. To me, you know, it will always come back to the way the clubs run. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm doing a watch along this afternoon. You know what? I'm going to admit it. I'm really looking forward to Chelsea against Liverpool tonight. It's pure this afternoon. It's pure escapism. It's two really good teams playing what I think will be a good game of football, which is something my team cannot do. So my enjoyment from football at the moment is coming from watching Chelsea-Liverpool in a Carabao Cup final, because it's actually going to be a good game of football, because actually that's what we want to see, good football. So I will be live on That's Football this afternoon at 4 o'clock. You can join me on there. I'm actually just going to do a quick video on Bielsa being sacked, actually. We'll be back at 8 o'clock tonight. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Don't forget Surfshark, 83% off and the first 3 months free. Virtual private network. Use the code United Stand. Check it out. Well worth checking it out. It's a really good app, and obviously, if you've not used one before, it's really good. If you have, you'll know what they're all about. Links in the description. Thanks to Surfshark. Thanks to everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all later. Really interested. Get in the comments. What are you thinking about United going forward now, and what the problem